Ah, Cuphead, the game we all love to hate. Each boss takes hours to complete. The run and gun levels test your reflex skills to the absolute extreme. And don't even get me started on the mausoleums. You're honestly more likely to become President of the United States than to complete this game. If you're a complete noob. This game has a reputation for being extremely difficult. Many journalists have praised the game for this, and countless Steam users have made fun of themselves over it. But is this really the case? Today, I'll be making the case for why I believe this game is actually quite easy. Now I know I may have over-exaggerated how easy this game is in my previous video. It's honestly harder to take a shit than to play Cuphead. Okay, perhaps it's harder to take a shit when constipated than to play this game. But still, this game isn't hard. It's average at best. Let's see why. So you've just bought Cuphead. You launch the game and go through the whole process of selecting your character and viewing the story. What's the first thing you do? You struggle to do the jump dash on the tutorial for half an hour like a certain games journalist. Or you could have one properly functioning brain cell and complete the tutorial with relatively little hassle. Not only is the tutorial a piece of cake, but you also get a free coin for your troubles. Once you've done that, you exit the Elder Kettle's cottage, out into the big bad world. You notice an apple-headed looking motherfucker sitting on the handrails of a rickety bridge, just begging to be pushed off. So you try to push him off, but only end up talking to him instead, cause pushing him off would be unethical. What do you get? 3 free coins. Come on, I haven't even touched anything resembling a challenge yet, and you're giving me free shit? Isn't this game set in 1930? Last time I checked, the New Deal came into effect 3 years later under Roosevelt. Next, you go to Porcrine's Emporium. What do you choose to buy? Only the best weapon in the game, of course! If you look at the wiki, you'll see that the roundabout does 8.5 damage per hit, which is the most for an accurate and non-awkward weapon in the game. It adds up to approximately 32 DPS, which in comparison to other weapons is quite excellent. So why am I able to buy it straight off the bat? Shouldn't the good weapons be reserved for the end game? Whose decision was this? What kind of hard drugs were they smoking? Benadryl? Furthermore, all the weapons cost the same, 4 coins. Not only can you buy the best weapon in the game straight off the bat, but you also have the option to buy the best charm in the game, the smoke dash. I guess the developers like ninjas or something, so now you can dash through your enemies without taking any damage. You gotta give the player a concession or two, I guess. Before we get to the absolute meat and potatoes of this game, the bosses, let's talk about our sponsor. Nah, just kidding. I only have 310 subscribers. You think anybody would actually reach out to me for a sponsorship? Well, there has been one or two, but I wasn't ready yet. Anyway, let's talk about the run and guns. There are 2 for each aisle in the base game, and they each offer 5 coins. These coins aren't even that well concealed. They're only a basic test of your timing skills, and once you get them, you can easily buy what you need to beat the game. This might sound fair enough for the end game, but when you're at the beginning of the game, you can easily beat the first 2 run and guns before you even consider fighting a boss. You receive 10 coins in total from this small endeavour. Add the other 4 into the fray, and you have enough coins to buy 2 weapons and charms. My layout of choice for most of the bosses that can easily beat the game consists of the roundabout, the spread shot, and the smoke dash. These are all weapons and accessories that you can buy straight away. In fact, the way the shop works practically forces you to buy them if you want to buy other weapons such as the crack shot and the converge. You'll also notice the super slot in your menu card. In order to get the supers, you must beat the mausoleum. To do that, you have to parry the ghosts that approach the center screen where Miss Chalice's spirit is captured. Honestly, this has to be the easiest part of the game. These ghosts fly about as fast as a dying sloth. I've only ever lost any of these levels twice, and I'm being dead serious. Twice. And I was recovering from my COVID vaccine at the time. I was genuinely embarrassed when these 2 losses occurred. It was like having one of those dreams where you're naked in public. And of course, The first super you get is the best. Well, that's subjective, but it's the easiest super weapon in the game for you to control. That's if you're not Miss Chalice, but we'll talk about her later. Now, it's finally time to discuss the bosses. In general, they are predictable with their attacks, slow to medium speed, and in general, not very hard. In fact, it's as if some of them were specifically designed for you to be able to take significant advantage of using certain charms. Smoke dash. The biggest example of this is in Werner Werman's first phase, where he tries to charge you. But the biggest problem I find with the bosses is that the game encourages you to be constantly firing. Using this method gives you the ability to concentrate more on dodging the enemy attacks. It's easier to constantly press the X button and fire out your weapons than to be choosy, and the game encourages this. The only real exception to this is the final phase of Grim Matchstick. I also have to say that this game is incredibly short, but that's not something I'm overly critical of, because animations like this take an incredibly long time to create in the style that Walt Disney used, which is frame by frame. Nevertheless, it can be problematic because it creates a lack of replay value. I've only played this game for 155 hours, and I've pretty much seen everything. Every little trick, every gimmick, every nook and cranny. Am I really that good at the game, or is it just easy? Then there's Miss Chalice.
Hey, it's me, Chalice!
I'm not the only one who said this, so I'll be brief. Miss Chalice is OP as f***. Not only does she get an extra HP, but she can double jump. The devs knew how based she is, because in order to use her, you must equip the Astral Cookie as your charm, basically ensuring that you can't equip any other charms while playing as her. It's a shame because I would have equipped the Smoke Dash. No need to worry, because you can basically do the same thing by crouch dashing. Yep, they gave her that ability too. This is just... what the f***? She was already OP enough. Now I can just crouch roll during the second phase of the Moonshine mob to dodge the attacks like it's nothing. But the parrying is different. Instead of jumping to parry like Cuphead and Mugman, you must dash to parry, which in my opinion is easier. Honestly, beating the shit out of bosses with Miss Chalice is not only easy, but incredibly fun. But that's just beating them. What about S-ranking them? That too is pretty easy if you have the right layouts. Inkwell IR1 is just a given, except for Hildeberg. But if you're struggling with any of them, there is one special charm you can equip, which makes it significantly easier. The Heart Ring. What does the Heart Ring do, you may be asking? Well, for the first, third, and sixth parries, you gain an additional HP. This charm is extremely useful for the more difficult bosses like Wally Warbles and Dr. Carl's robot. If you want to quickly S-rank all the bosses, here's my strat. For all the easier bosses, I just choose to go with my regular setup, but if you struggle, either use Miss Chalice or the Heart Ring, assuming you have the DLC. Minor alterations include the Lobber for the Grim Matchstick, Crackshot for Rumour Honeybottoms and Captain Brinybeard, Converge for the Phantom Express, and Chaser combined with Crackshot for Chef Saltbaker. With those combos, S-ranking all the bosses is a breeze. With all that being said about Cuphead's difficulty, one may assume that I hate this game. And to answer that question, no, I don't. I love this game. It's so much fun to go back in time and beat the crap out of various enemies Mickey Mouse style, and seeing some of the ridiculous phases unfold puts a smile on my face. But I wish people would stop saying this game is hard, because it's not. It's an absolute cakewalk once you've figured out the patterns. If the developers have somehow found this video, don't take pride in the game's difficulty. Quite frankly, I like the way the game is at the moment. Take pride in the incredible animations and the creative bosses. Except for Dr. Carl's robot. That boss is shit and can go and get f***ed.